Hello, ladies and gentlemen. If you don't know who I am, my name is Shook. I make NBA DFS content, NFL, sports books, prize picks, anything you can think of. All these videos, they go onto this Reddit right here. I'll have it linked down below. You can find my posts. My username is Shook, or yeah, I'll just have it linked down below. I make updates with all the news that comes out throughout the day. Where is it? Didn't have a post for today, so it's probably a little bit hard to find. But yeah, I make. Oh, here we go. This wasn't today, this was 2 days ago, but I make updates with all the news that comes out throughout the day. You can ask me questions about the slate. Anything you need, I'll have that down below. And then if you ever need to get a hold of me privately, you can get a hold of me on X right here. I'll have that link down below. And then if you're looking for more in-depth content, I will have my Discord link down below where I give you guys, cores, private videos, sports books, prize picks. I I am just in disbelief with what happened today with sports books. I live bet. Listen to this. I live bet Paul George. It was at halftime. It was 27 and a half PRA. He had, I believe, I want to say 17 at half, 17 or 18 at half. Just an absurd line. He played 18 first half minutes. So I'm like, okay, this seems like a phenomenal live bet spot. Um, he has 27 going into the fourth, and he hooks. He does not hit. Doesn't the game went into overtime too, and he didn't play overtime. One of the more brutal beats. It just took all the energy right out of me, just with props today. But we'll go over my lineup in tomorrow's video after the slate. You guys know I don't have my lineups up while the slate's going on, and it's been a long day, so I want to get this video done pretty early tonight. So yeah, let's go over the slate. News. There's going to be a decent amount of news, so as always, check out the Reddit. I'll make updates. All the games lock at the same time, so like if I'm not sure about something, I'll just tell you. I'll just make updates when we get closer to lock. So check those out. But yeah, of course, Max Struess out. We're gonna have Levine back, thank God. Malik Monk got hurt tonight. He could be out tomorrow. That's bumped to like Keon Ellis. Jeremy Sochan's out. Trey Jones is out. We could have Branham back as well. I believe he's been out or missed last game. I want to say, pretty sure he did. Yeah, he could be back. Washington, Bub Carrington got injured tonight. Houston, nothing. Brooklyn, we have Ben Simmons back. Pelicans, they're all still out. Trey Murphy coming back most likely. Clips, nothing. And then OKC Chet Holmgren got injured tonight. So there's going to be a lot of news tomorrow. Make sure, I'll make updates when we do get that news on Reddit. All right, let's go over it. Great spot here for Cleveland. Going up against the fastest paced team in the league. Just wild to me, the Bulls this year, the fastest paced team in the league. But that's going to do it with how their team has changed over this year. But yeah, the Bulls don't play a ton of defense. They are the fastest paced team in the league. I like Evan Mobley here quite a bit at 7.6K. Should play mid 30s minutes. His role this year is a lot better. People aren't realizing it. He's attacking the basket a lot more. Like if you watch a game, like he is just driving a ton, especially on teams that play a little bit smaller. Chicago is not a team like they have Vooch, of course, but like he's being super aggressive. Like I watched the Golden State game, and they were playing drop coverage against him, and he just absolutely did not care. Like just drove straight to the rim and drop coverage. Just he's being so aggressive this year. In a great spot, pace up spot going up against Chicago. I like Evan Mobley a ton. I think Donovan Mitchell, we know the ceiling he has. He's their go-to guy, going to play big minutes. Peripheral is a little bit down from this year from where they were last year, but still has a massive ceiling. I still like him quite a bit in GPPs. I think Darius Garland's fine at 7.1K. I think I'd rather get up to like Evan Mobley or like a Donovan Mitchell, but still good play to me at that price point. Jared Allen got benched last game because he was playing so bad. That definitely not going to happen again. She'll play mid 30s minutes. Still have interest in him, although I do prefer Evan Mobley. I always just prefer Evan Mobley. I think Karis LeVert's fine for value. She'll play around low 20s, and then has the opportunities to play a bit more depending on how he's playing. Usually a good point per minute guy off the bench that can stuff the stat sheet. I would say he's probably priced where he should be, but still a decent value if you need it. You couldn't pay me to play like a Coro, a Sam Merrill with everyone healthy, so I will pass on these values. Moving on to Chicago, really tough matchup with Levine back, so like thank God. This team just probably my least favorite team to target on the slate, and I don't even think it's close. Like Vooch in a really tough matchup at 8.3K. Only a large field GPP play for me. Kobe White at 7.2 seems priced right. Now you have the bad matchup. Same with Josh Giddey. Zach LaVine himself, the cheapest of the bunch, would probably be my favorite, but I don't think he's like an amazing play. I would assume he's way overpriced. I guess Patrick Williams is fine for value at 4.8K. Should play around 30 minutes. Just not going to do a ton when he's out there. He can at least grab some rebounds. He's at least playable for value, but really not liking too much here on Chicago for tomorrow. I think there's much better spots we can take advantage of. Back to back here for Sacramento. If Malik Monk's out, I do think Keon Ellis is going to be a good value. He's going to get a significant bump off the bench. I would assume he would go from like, I don't know, anywhere from like 20 to 22 minutes to like high 20s minutes. Another not great point per minute guy, but depending on value and what value opens up, he could potentially be a good value on this slate. If we don't have any value, assuming Malik Monk does not play, if Monk is in, I'm not touching it. Kevin Huerter at 4-5 minutes, up, down, production, up, down with DeMar on this team. He's not going to be like he was last year. Still a fine value at 4.5K. And then, the Kings are running a really, really tight rotation. Domantas Sabonis is in a tough matchup, but clearly has triple-double upside. The ceiling's always there. He's 9.5K. Like, if we look at the spend-ups on the slate, I think I would say probably James Harden is one of my favorites, along with, like, SGA, Wemby. But you have some good mid-range on this slate as well. But, yeah, Sabonis solid, just bad matchup going up against Wemby. De'Aaron Fox at 8.5, I think is fine. Like, another play that I'm just kind of indifferent on. I think I'd rather play like Brandon Ingram around his range, or go down to like a Donovan Mitchell. I think Sengun looks fantastic. Zubac is still good. Possibly no Chet tomorrow, right? Where were we on Sacramento? But firmly in play, of course. Would much rather play him over like DeMar DeRozan than Keegan Murray at 6.2. Kind of just indifferent on him at this price point. Just the good thing with Keegan Murray is he's probably going to get some ownership just because like the absolute floor of minutes he's playing, and he can grab some rebounds. Like he has a high floor with the amount of minutes he's playing when he's hitting those shots. Like when he's actually hitting those shots, he does have this type of ceiling. So I would say Keegan Murray's pretty solid. Probably my favorite play on Sacramento, to be honest. And then if Malik Monk is out, Keon Ellis is a solid value. Then Kevin Huerter's minutes could be a little bit more secure. Would have more interest in him as well. All right, let's move on to San Antonio. Sochan going to be out for this one. Trey Jones out. Keep an eye on Branham. If he's out, it's just going to be like more secure minutes for like Castle. We also have Vassell back. He came off the bench last game. I would assume they just go with that same lineup and just keep him off the bench for now. So if he comes off the bench and he's on like a minutes restriction, it's just impossible to go there. And then if like Branham's out, I think Castle's firmly in play as a value, but like 4.9K is getting up there in price point. I would say last game definitely a bit of an outlier, but play big minutes. Chris Paul at 6.7, probably going to play around 30 minutes. Stat sheet stuffer, just kind of there for me. A decent point per dollar play, but fine. Not too excited about it. Keldon Johnson off the bench should play around 30 minutes. Finally having good back-to-back games. We know he has a ceiling. A similar play to like, I think I'd rather get to like Keegan Murray around the same price range. Then Shampenny at 5K, just super, super safe. Should play around 30 minutes. Another guy can grab some rebounds. Kind of indifferent there. Like nothing amazing on this team. I would say probably my favorite play is just Wemby. Or Julian. And then, keep an eye on the lineup. Like, if Branham's out, just Steven Castle is going to play a decent amount. I would assume Vassell probably comes off the bench here once again. Just keep an eye on that. But they're running like a 9-man rotation with Castle playing a lot, Wemby playing over 30 minutes, Chris Paul playing high 20s minutes, and then Vassell, assuming Branham's out, those guard minutes will be a lot safer. All right, let's move on to Washington. So, keep an eye on Bob Carrington here. If he's out, I would assume they just go with Corey Kispert in the starting lineup. He's also playing some backup points. Like, maybe we see could potentially have some more value here with, like, a Jared Butler, potentially. Just keep an eye on it. But we know with Washington, they're going to run their starters into the ground as long as the game stays competitive. I think they're going to play Bub and Koulibaly, like, regardless. They'll get some blowout run and like Keyshawn George, but like in competitive games, they are playing massive minutes. Bilal close to 40. Keyshawn George played 34. Would have played even more. Bob Carrington got hurt. He would have played even more. Jordan Poole was actually in the fourth in a massive blowout. Corey Kispert got extra run, of course, and then Patrick Baldwin as well. With that being said, I think, if you think this game stays competitive, I think you can always fire up Jordan Poole. Hit like with Bub playing most of the point right now, it's kind of taking a lot. Like Jordan Poole has a much lower floor. Tough matchup going up against Houston. I honestly think the younger guys are my favorite plays here, like George, Bub Carrington if he plays. Like I like those guys quite a bit, assuming they play. Bilal Coulibaly, and then of course Jordan Poole firmly in play as well. And if we get Bub out, just keep an eye on the starting lineup. My guess would be like Corey Kispert starts, and then you'll see a bit more like Jared Butler at 3.3K as well. He would be in play as a value too. Sar is fine at 5'8", definitely my least favorite. But yeah, I like the young guys here. They're going to play close to 40 minutes, which that's what I would expect. And then Kispert as well if Bub's out. Moving on to Houston, great spot here. Phenomenal spot. I mean, how do I not absolutely love did I say Victor? Alfred Sengun tomorrow. This is the prime spot for him to just absolutely nuke the slate. His double upside, good score. He can do everything. He's stuffing the statue. My only concern is he just gets randomly benched, like he's done here. They've trolled his minutes other places, but they've been involved in a lot of blowouts. But as long as the game does stay competitive, I would expect low to mid 30s minutes. Just great point per minute guy, and just in a fantastic spot. I love Sengun tomorrow, assuming he doesn't get his minutes trolled. I think Jalen Green's solid at 7'4". Fred VanVleet at 6'8", stat sheet stuffer. The guy's floor has been a lot lower this year than it was last year, but he's playing big minutes. I think 6'8", decent price point. Jabari Smith at 5'2" seems a little bit too cheap to me. The only issue here is like Tari Eason's kind of eating into some of their minutes. Like Dylan Brooks will lose minutes sometimes. Jabari Smith is losing minutes sometimes. Tari Eason minutes up on the rise here. They don't like playing Bari and Tari together too much. But keep an eye on Steven Adams news as well. If I'm not sure, okay, so he would be back. So like Jabari Smith's back up 5. Dream is kind of dead there, but like, yeah, I like Jabari quite a bit. That price point is just too cheap. I like the value here. Tari Eason, I think is a really solid value at 4.8. Should play mid 20s minutes regardless. Has the ceiling to play a little bit more. I think Amen Thompson's firmly in play, although I do prefer Tari Eason. Then yeah, I really like Sengun. I think both Jalen Green, Fred VanVleet look good. Jabari Smith's too cheap. And really like Tari Eason for value. I think he'll probably be somewhat popular tomorrow, unfortunately. Moving on to Brooklyn, so we have Ben Simmons back. Starters, you should to get Claxton, Cam Thomas, Dennis Schroeder, Dorian Finney-Smith. So Claxton played 32 minutes last game, but that was without Ben Simmons. But if they're going to play him 32 minutes a game, he is way too cheap. If he's playing 32 minutes, he should be like 6.5K player. Fine spot going up against the Pels. They're riddled with injuries. Like, yeah, tricky one there with Ben Simmons back. Could lose minutes. I would assume just like, the bench guys lose minutes as well. They could continue to play Claxton around 32 minutes. With Ben, with him gaining minutes. He was limited first 2 games. So like they're taking him up. So I would expect around 30 minutes from him again. I really like Claxton at that price point. I think the main guys look pretty good here. Cam Thomas, love his ceiling at 7.2. I think Dennis Schroeder's fine, although loses a little bit of usage with Ben Simmons back. Cam Johnson's just been extremely consistent. Also playing big minutes, can grab some rebounds. Super safe play. And then Ben Simmons I like as a value. She'll play low to mid 20s minutes. Stat sheet stuffer, playing some point, playing some backup 5. He looks pretty good. Prefer him to Dorian Finney-Smith. Not touching the bench with Ben Simmons back as well. Moving on to the Pels. So Trey Murphy should be back tomorrow. He is probable. They probably keep him on the bench here. So like continue to start Brandon Boston Jr. So Brandon Ingram, Jose Alvarado, Brandon Boston Jr., Missy, and J.R.E. I would expect that to continue, and then Trey Murphy be on some type of limit. And then with Trey Murphy back, that's gonna hurt like guys like Javonte Green, Jalen Noel could possibly go out of the rotation. But I don't think it's gonna hurt that much. They're still pretty thin, right? So with that being said, I love Brandon Ingram at 8.6K. I played him, I think, last Slate floor game. Don't care about that. This game should stay competitive. Hopefully, she'll play close to 40 minutes in a competitive. I really like Brandon Ingram as a bounce back candidate here. I love Jose Alvarado at 6.2K. The values here, like I said, keep it on the starting lineup. But if Brandon Boston Jr. still starts, he's still a solid play at 5.9. Not as good of a play as he once was, but still in play at that price point. And then if J.R.E. starts, I like J.R.E. quite a bit for value. And then, yeah, with Brandon Boston Jr. back, it's going to hurt like, Javante, Jalen Noel, those type guys. And then possibly a Brandon Boston Jr. could lose some minutes as well. Not as good of plays as they once were. I think, Alvarado's still great play. Brandon Ingram's still a great play. I still like JRE for value, but like Brandon Boston Jr. getting up there in price point with Trey Murphy back, that's going to hurt a little bit as well, assuming Brandon Boston Jr. does start, but still maybe eat into his minutes a little bit. They've just been playing Brandon Boston Jr. 40 minutes a game, but still solid at 5.9K, just not a must like he was before. Missy at 5K, just overpriced for my liking. Moving on to the Clips, I mean, we know what to do. It's the same thing with Kawhi Leonard. James Harden looks like one of the best spin-ups on the board. Zubac at 8K is still really solid at this price point. No Chet most likely tomorrow. Norm Powell has a massive ceiling at 7.3. Always in play for GPPs. Kevin Porter Jr. is a fine value. Chris Dunn's playable. I'm not going to go to those type guys. All right, so yeah, Chet got hurt tonight. I would expect him out tomorrow, unless we could have got that news already, to be honest. But I would expect him out tomorrow. They have no bigs. They went small tonight. Both teams actually went small tonight. Warriors went small once Chet went down, and then of course OKC went small. You can see Trace played no minutes. I don't think Kevon Looney was out tonight, but if he was not, he DNP'd. They went small. Both teams went small. So I don't think you can go small tomorrow up against Zubac. I mean, you could. Clips could go small too, I suppose. But I would assume Dieng starts at 3.1K. If he starts, he shoots up to probably the best value play on the slate. Now, both teams could troll. Both teams could go small potentially in this spot. But I think, they want to play Zubac right now. So I think, you're probably going to get Dieng starting. He would be a great value. What else? SGA gets a massive bump, like him. J-Dub at 7.8 gets a bump. He looks really solid. These value plays, they get a bump. They can always still troll. They still have bodies. They still have Wiggins. They have Kaysen. They have Joe. They're going to go with the hot hand between them, but all firmly in play for value. All solid. Aaron Wiggins was the chalk tonight. He got trolled. They went with more Kaysen, Isaiah Joe, etc., but still firmly in play as solid values. And then do we get, I don't know, Dylan Jones back up 5? Potentially. I don't know, man. Luckily, it's the early game, and we'll get the lineups. So I would assume Dieng starts, would be my guess. I don't know if you really want to go small up against Zubac, unless the Clippers want to go small as well, which I doubt it. So, yeah, Dylan Jones, possibly some backup 5. Dieng, they have no other bigs, right? So, yeah, I think, looks pretty good to me. Alright guys, that's going to be the video. I hope you guys had a great night, and I will talk to y'all in the next video.